Unbelievable. Well, we're going to go right along because we started a little late. We're trying to keep on somewhat of a schedule. Is that okay with you? Okay. So how much does it cost to be you or you? Creating and building wealth for yourself. Who wants to be wealthy? And we all do. I'd like tips and tricks and suggestions to increase mine. Financial literacy and empowerment. Today we have Judy Casperson, who's Vice President of KeyBank, with us. Judy is a broadly skilled, multilingual financial executive with substantial experience in wealth management, banking, municipal government, and not-for-profit organizations. She has a strong history of leading and coaching to achieve sustainable results in business development, sales, marketing, operations, and client services. She's assisted not-profit executives in securing and maintaining corporate sponsorships, managing campaigns, and raising funds. Before joining FIO, Judy held senior roles at significant area banking institutions where she turned around service delivery and created a customer-centric culture. I love that word, customer-centric. As a community service advocate, she served 4 terms on the West Hartford Town Council and is on the University of Hartford Women's Advancement Initiative Board, where she serves as finance chair. She is a board member of the Connecticut Women's Council Board of Directors, co-chair of their membership, and serves as the Easter Seals co-chair and the corporate committee. She's active in so many different things and is the 2022 United Way Women's United Power for the Purse. As a board member and advocate, most of Judy's work involves financial planning, strategy development, teamwork excellence, I love that, and execution. Judy has attained educational designations internationally and from Everest College. She lives here, West Hartford, Connecticut, with her husband and has 2 children and a grandbaby on the way. Please join me in welcoming Judy.
So I can sit down now, right? That was a lot. So welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for being here today. I have that very difficult question that many of you may not have asked yourself in a while. How much does it actually cost to be you? Now, I came to this work when my husband was we were living in Germany. All these young women were coming over to Germany. They didn't understand what the Deutschmark was, because that's what it was back then. The dollar, it was 3-to-1 for the dollar. And they were coming over and not having any understanding of what it meant to have a budget, how to, really convert the cash. They knew nothing. And they also didn't understand that when they were calling home, that as that thing was clicking, some of you know that, right? As it was clicking, that was your grocery money going out the window, because it costs $3 a minute to call home and tell your mother that you missed her. So that's where my love of financial literacy came from. I was working for the USO and began teaching courses way back then. I was in travel and transportation back then and had worked for an airline and decided I needed to go into banking. I needed to help people understand budgeting. Who loves budgeting? Can you raise your hand? Who loves that? Oh, we have a few people, right? But what if I told you that it's not really budgeting? It's, do you want to tell your money what to do? How many people want to tell their money what to do? Right? Isn't that much easier? And thinking about a plan and a strategy to tell your money what to do instead of being a victim of where it went. So there are many costs in our lives, right? And you're looking at my list and you're thinking some of those things are really necessary, right? We're not talking about even the basics, right? Those are there too. But when you're thinking about how do you spend every penny, you don't really want to think about that because it's difficult. And if you added up how much you spent for each one of those things, would you have spent differently? If you added it up over the course of a year, would you have made different choices? So I also lead this class at, this seminar talk at many colleges and universities. I've had students, walking out of my talk crying because we talk about sometimes how much it costs of you to provide those things for yourself. So if you looked at this instead of, how much it costs for a manicure, how many hours does it take you to work to earn that? So maybe, and I love supporting all small businesses, by the way, I've had one. But thinking about if I chose to maybe do a manicure every other month, and I took what I would have been spending there and saved it to do an experience with my girlfriends. Somebody's going away with their girlfriends for a weekend, right? If you had all of that money in your hands, coffee at Starbucks, coffee at Dunkin' Donuts, would you make different choices? That's all that it is. There are very necessary things, and if you go down the list, talking about where do you buy your groceries? So how many people are Whole Foods shoppers? Stop and Shop? ShopRite? Costco? Sam's? People with kids, you can see maybe with boys, right? People with boys, you can see people with boys, or very active young women. So I started grocery shopping at Aldi when I lived in Germany 35 years ago. And it's owned by the same family as Trader Joe's. Did anybody know that? They have the same organic standards and food standards as Aldi and have many of the brands that Whole Foods has. So when I go shopping at Aldi and I'm putting things in my cart and you're shopping at, one of the other stores, you're averaging $1 to $2 more for every item that you put in your cart over what I put in mine. And what do I do with that money? I can save it. I can invest it. I can pay for more gas because that's really, going up. And I almost only buy my gas at Costco because when I realized I could save 50 cents to $1 a gallon, I only buy my gas there. And if you spend enough money there, then you get it back, right? Your membership is free because you splurge for the premium membership. And then you're able to save money because they give it back to you. If you don't make the cost of your membership, they will refund you. So it's how do I make my money work for me all the time? And when you're looking at all of the other costs, right? How many of you, Dr. B was talking about investing in yourself. When you're thinking about, we've had less challenges with our wardrobes since COVID, right? COVID has affected and changed so much of how all of these things are looked at and viewed. But I remember having to, being in banking, I've worn a suit uniform for many, many years now. And that comes with dry cleaning. And one of the things that I figured out was that if I did Rent the Runway and had unlimited for $100, $150 a month, I didn't have to buy clothes and I didn't have to pay for dry cleaning. And my closet, which is pretty stocked now from years of the other stuff. But my daughters don't buy clothes. really. They do rent the runway. And their stock is down today, so don't look at that part. But thinking about, every place that you spend money and just starting to shift and thinking about what's it costing you, and could you make different choices, or would you make different choices if you just planned? One of the things that I have worked with is Financial Peace University. It's something that, it's Dave Ramsey's taught this course. Sometimes it can be a challenge because, it's not always loving yourself when you're thinking about doing some of those things. When you look at all these things, and if I said, well, let's sit down and let's make a budget today. What is one of the first things that you feel? Do you feel excited because we're going to start telling your money what to do? Or do you feel shame because it's like, I don't know what my credit rating is? I don't know, if my 401k, if I have enough in retirement. I don't know if I'm planning well. So one of those things is being able to go to banking professionals, going to financial advisors, walking along someone, we'll call them the financial resuscitation team. There's no shame in going to a professional and having them help you. So when you go to the doctor, do you say, I'm really sorry, but I have a cold? And, you're going to them because they have the expertise to make you better. So if you're not feeling confident about managing all of these things, you're a professional. Bankers, they're there to help you with just budgeting every day. Many tools and tips right on many banking websites. One of the great things that I love and started doing when they first brought it out was, keep the change. Every time you make a purchase with your debit card, the change, if you go, so I will charge gas for $55.01. So 99 cents goes into my savings account. And that becomes that little slush fund that you don't even think about. And I know there are other tools like Acorns. There are other that take your change and invest it, right? There are many different tools that help you to manage your budget. There's one called Every Dollar. It's painful to start, I will tell you quite honestly, because nobody really wants to look at every penny they spend. But when you do, you're able to then see how much power you have in making different decisions or changing some of the things that you have control over. Or thinking about, do I have make lunch or do I go out to lunch? Many times with my staff, they would be surprised that I would not go out to lunch more than usually once a week, because thinking about how many hours they have to work to pay for the lunch that they're getting, it's just a different concept. So helping my employees to start thinking about those things, I was able, one of the fun things was going in and having tellers who in a bank who are thinking about, could I ever buy a house? I'm trying to tell people about mortgages, but I don't know about a mortgage. So we set off to create a process for them to achieve home ownership. And honestly, I'm really thrilled to say that 3 out of 5 of them in the last 3 years have purchased homes. Because when they realized that if they were paying $800 a month in rent, they could find a mortgage for that much. And then if they became the homeowner, they then have a roommate paying into their mortgage and then helping them to start doing what? That big thing, creating wealth. If somebody is paying in equity into your home, then that's only going to help for the future. You move on, you keep it as an investment property, or you sell it now for a great, reward, I would say, because the prices right now are so high. But those things, just thinking about things in a very different way. So one of the things that I do often is doing that taste the difference. If you took Aldi home and you took Costco home and you took all those things and you put them out on the table, do you think anybody would be able to tell the difference for the most part? And so this is something that I do with all of the students, is bringing things out and having them sample. But with COVID, it's a more of a challenge these days. So do you have spending rules? Does anybody have spending rules? Like, how much will you spend for something? Yeah. What are some of the things you have spending rules for? What are some other spending rules? Does anyone else have spending rules? So spending rules are just, talking about how much would I pay for something. It's not how much something costs, because that doesn't matter. It's how much would I pay for it? How much value do I place on something? So thinking about things that we purchase, something when it goes on sale, I'm very patient. I wait for things to go on sale, because when you buy something, are you going to wear it again next year? Are you going to use it again next year? It's not going to matter how new it is. So do you need to have the first and the best, or can you wait a quarter of until it goes down 30%, 20%, whatever that is? So one of the things that also helps with that is being on email lists for all of the places that you do normally purchase, so that you get emails and you do find out when those sales are. That's very helpful. And we discussed the banking tools, understanding your benefits, thinking about going into your job the first day and paying yourself first. So many people here, how much would it take for you to be a millionaire at 40 or at 65? If you're 45 and you're starting today and you're investing in your 401k or saving, and you're hopefully getting a return of 6%, you'd have to be saving about $3,300 a month in order to make $1 million by the time you're 65. But if you start much earlier, it will take, you start with $100 a month on your first job, you could be a millionaire by the time you were 45. So it's really thinking about how you're investing in yourself, being able to understand how to, free money. Anytime there's an employer match, who likes free money? I do. And so thinking about that, your health savings accounts, when you're thinking about how you might be able to have your benefits tax-free. So for those of you who may not know, health savings accounts, you're able to put money in pre-tax. You can use it now, but the thing that most people don't realize is if you pay into it now, you can use that in retirement. That's that credit card, it's like your debit card for health. You can use it way into the future. So it's great to front load that thing now. And for me, it's a great time for me to be doing that so that I have less costs in retirement. I've already put money into that, and budgeting for what your normal annual costs are, and thinking about that ahead of time and making sure that you do put that in, as a deduction from your paycheck. When I talk about that too, I think about when you're using your credit cards, right? All credit's not bad credit. There is good credit, especially when you're using your credit card as a tool. So it's one of those things, you buy something on sale, you use your credit card gives you cash back or points, and then you get to take all the money you saved from doing some of those other things, put it with the free miles, and have a trip to, an island for a weekend, or Florida, anywhere that might have a beach, as we're going to be entering a cool season very quickly here. So it's just a matter of being able to think differently. So thinking about just going back to the original, how many hours of work does it cost to be doing the things we do? What's the return on your investment? Is it worth it? And sometimes it is. Sometimes showing up and doing something amazing, having that, splurging on that weekend, doing whatever is very important. But how much of your life does it cost? So that goes then to self-care, right? It's like when we're working so hard, if you change some habits, would you be able to sleep better at night? Would you be able to show up to work with that passion that you have for the role that you're doing? Would you be able to lead your team more effectively? Might you be able to see some of those, challenges and help lead them to some other things as well, right? But if you're sleeping better, how much more energy are you going to have for your life? And that's really a lot what this is about, is really talking about what's your time worth, what's your life worth, shifting your mindset and how you view the stuff that goes to your bank account. And how might you reallocate your time if you had it to spend? So if you create a budget and thinking about how you align that with your values and what you'd like to do, what your goals are, bring people in to help you. Keep promises to yourself, create a bucket list, and then figure out how to fund it by telling your money what to do. So this is one of those quotes that had me thinking for a while, right? The rich invest their money and spend what is left. The poor spend their money and invest what is left. And what do you think that quote is saying about how you can approach life? Does it make you think differently? But hopefully, being able to take the time to dig into some tools and ask for help anytime you need it, or get into an investment club if you love that. There are women who are amazing and do fun things and help you learn about investing and make it fun. And there are little apps that you can use on your phone as well that I utilize. And it's just fun to help you understand the markets, help you understand different things of that nature. But I'm working with a financial advisor, working with just fun groups. You'll be able to start thinking about how you can start finding those jewels in order to save more, in order to start building a foundation so that you can create not only a wealth of money, but a wealth of time and value for your life. Thank you.